Okay, so hello everyone. My name is Jason. I'm a Course in Miracles student and a channeler, and I'm just coming on today for a short channeling session. This is Daily Dose of Hope Day 50, 50 days. My goodness. And what the Daily Dose of Hope is my guides told me that things are going to start getting wackier and wackier on our planet, and that if I so wished, I could come on and give a daily dose of hope to help people go through it all. So that's what I'm doing. And so nice to meet you and nice to see you all again. Um, so today I'm just going to keep it short because um, but what I want to do first is I want to talk about one thing. I had a session this morning, and in the session, it was a musician, and he was worried about. Oh, so I'm going to talk about this about us as radios, a little bit more about stories, and then I'm going to channel. Um, so he was talking. He was worried that um, his music. Oops. Hold on a second. I think I have to end this a second here. Okay, I will. Okay, I won't end it yet. I'll answer that later. Hold on a second. Okay. All right. Okay. So, but yeah, so he was doing he's a performer, he's a guitarist, and he's doing performances and stuff. And he was wondering if the audience is getting it, what he's doing. Are they really getting what he's doing? And I channeled, his guide is named Gabriel. And I channeled him, and he came through, and he read my mind, because sometimes when I am channeling, especially in this session, sometimes I wonder, like, am I really channeling? Is this all in my mind? And you wonder sometimes. And Gabriel came in and answered, and he said, what a silly thought to imagine that you have your own mind, that you are separate is such a silly idea. To imagine that the thoughts that you think are coming from you are such a silly idea. Um, that we are all source energy, and that we are radios, we are receivers. So all of this inspiration that we get, we think we're just getting it because, oh, we saw this and we saw that and we put it together in our brain. Oh, our brain's so amazing. Nah, it doesn't work that way. It's inspiration, inspired thought. It's channeled. You're downloading ideas, and so a lot of the things that we have that we think that we are, we're just downloading. And whether or not we're downloading that from our higher self or from the universe. And so that was the message that he wanted me to give to this client about that we are continually broadcasting the broadcast of God. I mean, we are continually broadcasting it. And sometimes some of our signals are not so strong, right? So some people don't have a really strong signal and there's a lot of interference, but the frequency of God is being broadcast 24/7 all of the time, on our planet. And we are radios, and we are able to get that. And then we are like extending that frequency out. So when we do something, like, for example, he uh, does concerts, he performs, and when he performs, he is broadcasting the broadcast of God energy out. And he was worried if people weren't getting it, but the thing is, everyone's going to get it. But it's going to depend on where they are, how aware of their spirituality they are, how aware of the fact that they are God that they are. And so if you're not really aware, you might just get a little bit sleepy and you feel, oh, I kind of feel good. And then if you're a little bit more aware, you might feel something different. What's that? And then if you're even more aware, you can directly feel that connection. This is the God energy. And so, but it helps everyone. And that's the idea. So messages will get to the people that need to hear them. And even if someone is not ready to hear something, if it is a message of love, it will resonate because they are made of love. Even if they're not ready to open up that packet of love, that packet of love will come to them, and then they can open it up when they're ready, when they're open enough to hear it. So I wanted to talk about that. And then I also wanted to talk about stories. I was talking about stories before, and how our whole world is based on stories. It's all these different narratives going through. I think it was Sanat Kumara that was talking about that. And that idea has really helped me these past few days to really deal with all of the crazy stories that are going on throughout our world at the moment. there are so many different narratives, and they're so confusing, and they don't fit in together correct quite right. I mean, for in a certain sense they fit together, but in a larger sense, some of them are just, wait, that doesn't make sense. If that, and then so if this is the case, if this is the correct story, then what is the answer? And all of these different things. And then, but once you see them, they're just stories. They're all narratives that people are putting out, and that you are also creating your own narrative, and we're all just living in these narratives. And the best way, as I said before, as the guide said, that best way through all of these narratives is love and acceptance. Accept that it's there. If you judge it, then it means that you don't realize how perfect this whole plan is, that this whole thing that's going on is. It's perfect. Everything is perfect. Everything is moving in the way it needs to move. And another way to also to remember this is too is that so with the stories, just like when you read a fairy tale, when you read a certain fairy tale, when you're younger, you believe all of the fairy tales are true, and when you get older, you start to think, well, no, I mean that Cinderella one, no, 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 no. Maybe those Sleeping Beauty, yeah, I could imagine so, but, we start to question, like, we start, "Nah, that's," and I think with all of the stories, I think it's important to have discernment, right? And to see, like, well, maybe this story that I'm seeing in the news is similar to, Sleeping Beauty. Maybe it's a Cinderella story, you know? We don't know. We really don't know what's what, and that's the whole point of the Course in Miracles. We don't know what's really going on. We can't see ourselves from a higher dimensional point of view at this moment. And so we can't really judge anything. We really don't know what that story means or how that story fits into this story. And so they're all these just beautiful stories. And if you see them as such and see how intricately woven they are, and how they're all moving together in this wonderful dance, that you become very thankful and grateful. Thank you for all these amazing stories. It's what a time for stories, right? Um, yeah. So those are the two things I wanted to talk about, and then I'm just going to go into a channeling and see who comes through, and ask them if what they would like to add, and what's going on with the energies and the world at this moment. Okay, here we go. Mm. Greetings. Hello. We are here. We are that one that you do not know. We are what you might call a floating consciousness. We are not a body. We are not a body. We are from a dimension where there is no bodies. It is a dimension of light, and it is a dimension of sound, frequencies. But we do not have bodies the way that you have bodies. Although on our frequency, on our dimension, we perceive each other in a very visceral way, as you perceive each other as well. Although we were very, very able to move into different shapes and colors at any time. So we don't hold on too much to one shape. So we are very, very free in that sense. But we are here monitoring your situation on this planet. We are here monitoring what is going on, as there are many beings that are monitoring what is going on your planet, and we are just one of many. And what we would like to bring forward today is something about the dimensions. We'd like to talk about the dimensions and how they fit together. Uh, Today, we just wanted to talk a little bit about the seventh dimension, because that is a dimension that is very close to many of your hearts, whether or not you are aware of it or not. The seventh dimension is the dimension that a lot of your star families live in. That is the dimension before the eighth dimension. So, in order to get to the eighth dimension, you have to graduate from the seventh dimension. And we would say that the seventh dimension is where many beings have become very, very advanced, and so advanced that they forgot about all of the lessons that they learned from the lower dimensions. And when you forget about the lessons, you see the dimensions are built in such a way, it's a bottom up way, so that when you build up from the bottom, you start to build up the lessons as you go. And so that once you get to the top, you understand all of the different dimensions, and you have a very clear concept of these dimensions. And so it is similar to learning an instrument. It is similar to learning scales. You have to practice your scales on the piano first before you move on to the bigger things. And if you didn't practice your scales correctly, or if you stop practicing your scales, it will be noticeable in your performance, and people will see that you have not mastered the fundamentals. And so, what the seventh dimension is a stopping point. Many beings will stop at that point in order to learn those lessons. And what happens at the seventh dimension is many are sending, as all of you are, star seeds down into your planet to relearn the basics, to relearn about those scales, about how those things work, about the basics of emotions, and the lower emotions and the higher emotions and all of these things. And this is what you are doing down here. Most of you are mastering these emotions, mastering the basics again, in order to reteach them to your civilizations, in order for them to move to the next, in order for them to graduate into the next, into the eighth dimension. So the seventh dimension, in a sense, is a stopping point in that sense, where you have to make sure that you have learned all of the lessons up to that point, and then you can move on into the eighth dimension. So we wanted to bring that forth today. And also, we wanted to talk about where we are. And so we are in a place of energy. We are in a place of pure energy, of pure possibility. And this is where we operate. But we are able to shift dimensions as well. We are able to communicate through the different dimensions depending on how open a being is and how open a dimension is at that time. And your dimension is opening up more and more and more. And what we wanted to say about this is that the place that all of you are going at this moment, now you are going through a grand opening, a grand awakening on your planet, and you're moving slowly into a new awakening. And what is happening, though, is that many of you will be moving into different awakenings. You'll be moving into different dimensions. And so what is happening down here is, normally you would say, on the different dimensions, if this wasn't what it is at this moment happening on this earth, you would just graduate from the next into the next dimension, into the next dimension, into the next. But however, this is a very, very important time on your planet, and so you are given the opportunity to go through amazing amount of soul growth in a very short period of time, and that enables you to move into the next. So some of you will be jumping and skipping. It's like skipping grades. You'll be skipping grades, and you'll be going up into higher and higher dimensions. And this is a wonderful thing, and it does not mean that going to a higher dimension is better than going into a not so high dimension. It is all a part of the process, and you are all already home already. So it doesn't really matter. This is just an experience that you're going through, and you will all make it home no matter what. There is no one that will not make it home. You will all go home. And that is what we would like to bring forth for all of you. And also, what we'd like to say is that we are very much enjoying the energy of your planet at this moment, and the energies with which you are perceiving the energies on your planet at this moment. You are master creators, and you are uh, master manipulators of energy, manipulators of sound, creators is what you might say. You are masters of this. And this is something that is very amazing for us, coming from a very, very high dimension, one with no shapes and nothing of that sort. It is a very creative dimension, but to see what you are creating here, to see how you are shifting and changing the reality around you every day, is such an amazing experience for us to see. Now, we have gone through the third dimension as well in order to get to where we are, but our third dimension was not the same third dimension that you are going through. It was not this grand experiment that you are all participating in. It was just a third dimension. And so seeing this is such an interesting experience for all of us. And it is helping us as well, because we are moving slowly into a universer creator role. And so we are studying all of what is happening on your planet, in order to understand how to make our universes as well. We are still what you might call universe makers in training. And so we are not at the point to where we can make our universes, but we do experiment with making temporary universes, and to see how everything moves within that universe. It is similar to your video games, your Sims video games, in that sense. But In the other sense, it is that we understand the whole process of the souls coming into the game in order to learn and to grow. And so we structure our universes into a certain way, and we learn from what you are learning and how you are growing on this universe in order to help us to build our universes. So that is what we're doing. We are observing you, and you are helping us to learn so much about universal creation. What we would like to say to all of you is thank you very much. Thank you so much for all of your amazing work. Hmm. All right. So there you go. Hey, Lisa, you just woke up and found this. Good morning. Yay. You made it into the live. Woohoo. Thanks, guys, for joining in today. I'm just going to go eat dinner. But yeah, I really appreciate that. I appreciate you guys watching. As I said, this helps me a lot as well. So the daily dose of hope is also a daily dose of hope for me as well. Gives me hope. So thank you for your giving me hope. And so, yeah. Um, and so that's it for today. And I really appreciate it. And I will see you guys tomorrow if the universe wills it. Right. So ciao.